Hey Taurus, welcome to Divine Duality Tarot. It is May and I have a romantic reading for you. What I'm going to try to do is do a pretty quick, try not to take up too much of your time, get a love reading to find out what's going on between you, Taurus, and whoever this romantic interest may be. That way you have a little bit of, this is my favorite phrase, a little bit of forewarning than no warning at all. Everybody knows what it's like to walk into a situation and have no clue what's going on. So I am going to do my best to help you figure that out. I do a pretty simple spread. I draw two that will, that's representing your energy, your side of the story. And then I'm going to draw two for this love reading that represent your interests, excuse me, side of the story, this energy going into it. And then I want to know what the situation is. So let's find out why we have these emotions going between you two. All right. Excuse me. My goodness. All right. So what I'm going to do, Taurus, is go over these meanings with you, get the whole idea what's going on, and then, yep, we'll go from there. So if any of these meanings are not quite as clear as they need to be, I do have a second deck here, a completely separate, untouched deck. Now it's been touched, but unused deck to clarify any meanings or additional questions should we need to ask them. Starting it off, and this is you, Taurus, starting it off, you have the Wheel of Fortune. What this is the completion of a cycle. It's the completion as in it's been fulfilled, that part of a cycle. A lot of times when it comes to love readings, I always like to think of that as you've been dating, all right? And you've been dating for months or years, and you get to that point where you realize there's no further place we can go. We've, and I'm so sorry. As a couple, you've been on the dates, you've said the I love yous, you have moved in together. You know, some people move in before marriage, some people move in after. To each their own with how they proceed, but that proceed is the completion of a cycle. It could be, to my description, once you get to that point where you have done everything you can as a couple, then a lot of times that's when people think of taking the next big step. You know, getting married, or, you know, before that, if you two are so comfortable with each other that you decide the next step is to move in together. The next step is hanky-panky for the first time. You know what I mean. So the completion of a cycle, the completion of a phase of this relationship. More or less, you've got to the point in this phase of the relationship where there was no further you could go. You've now hit your pinnacle. And you have the Seven of Cups to back that up, which is dreaming, which is, you know, finally getting clarity. What this is telling me is that you've been stuck for a while. Whatever phase of this relationship you're in, it could be a rocky patch. A rocky patch can be a phase. Might be, you know, like a big bill that's been weighing down on the two of you, and you finally got it paid off. That is a phase of a relationship. A phase can be small, a phase can be huge. But whatever this phase is, you, Taurus, have seen the light. You have seen the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. You have seen it. And you know that there's no further you can go as is right now. There's no further steps to build more without opening a new door and then taking steps from there. Like, you've hit the landing of the steps, and to go further, there's a door, and to open that door is the next step. You're on the landing. You're done climbing steps to that point. There is nowhere else to go other than forward. You've reached that. You know what you want. Them, on the other hand, is a completely different story. They're in a weird spot. They have the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is an ending of a truth and the beginning of a new one. These two are fairly similar, only this is on a much bigger scale. This is somebody replacing a truth with a new one. And I hate to use truth so much. It's replacing something they knew with something else. Because there's two types of truths, and I know that's kind of ridiculous too, Karen, but there's subjective and objective truths. An objective truth is you're watching this right now. You are watching. That is the truth. A subjective truth is what we come to believe, but is not actually the case. And it's not even that there's a lie. When we don't have enough information, we draw conclusions, and those conclusions can be right. If you're on the highway and traffic stops to just a dead standstill, first thing you think is there's probably an accident out there. You know, the road is blocked or something. You know, and all you see is traffic. More than likely, it's an accident. That becomes the truth. There's an accident out there. You know, it never stops for any other reason. And sure enough, you get up there and there was an accident. Your conclusion, based on past experience and facts, that usually that's what happens, came to fruition. Okay? Let's say this one time you're on the highway, traffic stopped as far as you can see, it's going slow, you've already called your significant other and said, hey, I'm going to be late, there's been an accident on the highway. You get up and you find out that it wasn't an accident. There's not two wrecked cars, there's circus animals crossing the street. Extreme different, but that is a different truth. That is the truth, but that is a different truth. It has replaced the one that you had, because now you'll have a much funnier story to tell. But when you call your significant other and you say, hey, so you know that wreck that I thought was on the highway? No, it was circus animals. Let me send you the video, because you got to take video. You got to. It's just, it can't not be videotaped. So they are coming to understand that this situation is now different. But they're having trouble coming to grips with it. And that's what the Seven of Swords is for. The Seven of Swords is deception. It is not necessarily deceiving themselves or deceiving you. It depends on the context of what's going on. But this person, in this case, is more so deceiving themselves. This can be, depending on circumstances, them deceiving you in a different situation. But in this situation, they are for sure coming to grips with the end of this phase. They know this phase is over as well, but they're taking it a lot differently. They may not be ready. They may not feel that this is right. They may, and I'm not saying that the relationship doesn't feel right, but they may not feel like this phase is right, that this new step, if the next step is, getting married, let's say, this person's not prepared for that. They haven't wrapped their mind around it. So the reason why all this is happening in the first place, the Lovers and the Two of Pentacles, which is balance. This new phase definitely has a lot to do with sharing values, because that's what the Lovers represents the most to me, is the the core values of a relationship. This is, without the Lovers, without those core values, that core foundation of the most basic beliefs that you agree on, it's hard to build a house on top of shaky foundation. And if there's a lot of underlying beliefs that you don't share, such as what does family mean to you? If you value family above all, and they value friends above all, those are two very different core values. Those are very different core foundations. And a relationship like that is not, they're going to value outside more than you, because you're going to become family. So those core values have to align. So that's in question. You have the Two of Pentacles as well, which is balance, but balance more so in the physical world. There's a big change, and you know that things cannot get any better without more union between the two of you, without more communication between the two of you. There's an issue regarding the physical world, more than likely with the household. Could be a bill, could be just the peace of mind of knowing that you're living above your means, and you know that you cannot do this alone. There needs to be more cooperation between the two of you. This is the kind of thing that I would chalk up to two people having separate bank accounts. When you're still in the ideal of it's my money and they're in the ideal of it's their money, then there is no our money, which means there's no collective focus as to what we are actually doing. When they have their own assets and you have your own assets, if there's no communication, then who's even doing what? Who's paying what? Who's doing what? When you have those big separations and no communication, how do you even know what they're doing? Are they spending frivolously on things that they don't need to be? Going to the movies all the time? Hopefully not the situation, but, buying illegal substances, stuff that we shouldn't really be doing without, you shouldn't be doing illegal substances anyway, but if they're spending money on things that they don't need, then that's an issue, because it creates an undue burden on you. That's assets in the relationship that are now gone. And more than likely, it's stuff that you didn't even know existed. You realize that. And they realize it too, but they're not wanting to realize it. They're still in a more singular mindset. They're not looking for a partnership in that way yet. But at the same time, they are. So this person is hot and cold right now. You have big plans, Taurus. You know what you want. They don't. They don't know what they want. And that's causing confusion with you. Because if you don't know what they want, then the only thing we can do is assume, well, maybe they're just here to be here. They're only here for physical excitement, and then they're going to go off and do their own thing. You know, am I just a person here, or are we a partnership? Because that is what's in question. That partnership is what's in question. That partnership, in whatever the situation is in question. So I can't leave it on that. I need to know a couple things. I'm trying to think of how to word these two questions, because I need to have a little bit of, I'm invested in this. I need to know. Let's say they continue to deceive themselves. How will this situation play out? No. What is the most likely way that this situation will play out if they don't change? If they stay in this and nothing changes? Give me an answer here. Give me a good answer here. What happens? Okay. And this one is, what happens if they come on board? What is the most likely scenario if they come on board, join in, and actually get on board? Taurus, I have good news for you, and I love having good news. There is a way out. And you are 100% right. Let me explain why. The first question, what is the most likely outcome if things don't change? You have judgment, which is coming to an understanding. This is you understanding that they are who they are and nothing's going to change, which is going to lead to consistent arguments. Five of Swords, arguments over the truth, because you're always going to be the one who knows this needs to be fixed. And they're always going to be the one that's saying things like, oh, I'll get to it, or, you know, whatever bullcrap excuse. And then things are going to cool off between the two of you. You have the Star, which is dreaming, which is healing from the past. This is a new status quo. This is you moving on from this situation in a much weaker way. More or less, you will be dragged down and you will forever be thinking of what could be. Your mind is always going to be, what if things have been different? And that is no way to live. That is no way to live. Arguing, regret, coming to a conclusion about somebody where they are less than what they actually are, because this is a beginning stage. The second that they're done actively deceiving themselves, this becomes their new truth, and that becomes set in stone. And it's a learned behavior. It's like somebody who's just mean because they're just mean. They're just a mean person. I'm not saying they are, but in general, an example is if somebody has been bullied their whole life and they become a butthole, you can't just tell them, hey, stop being a butthole, because they have validated them being a butthole in their own mind. It's become law in their head. Right now, this is still new. If you, Taurus, you're going to have to be the one that do this. The one that does this, do this. Man, that's some good English right there. This one's on you. If you can get them to open their freaking mind, if you can get them on board and understanding the gravity of the situation. You have the Four of Wands, which is celebration. It's a celebration of will. And with there being two of you, your combined willpower has the ability to bring out that Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is manifestation in the physical world. So not only will you have the collective willpower to succeed, you have the collective willpower to solve whatever. I'm just throwing cards up here left and right. But with that ability to manifest in the physical world, you'll have the ability to get that balance in the physical world. To be able to manifest solutions to this problem is right there. Is right there in your grasp. And that'll give you your High Priestess. You will become, you will go from being the star, being the what if, being the woulda, shoulda, coulda, I wish things were different, but I'm starting to understand. This is you becoming and realizing that your intuition has power. This is you realizing that your mind has power, that you aren't the one that's jumping to conclusions, that you trust in your gut and good things happen. This is you making good decisions and using your most logical approach to get there. You could become a powerful force. In whatever the situation is, you can wipe it right off the map. It'll be an afterthought. It could be something that you and whoever this person is can laugh about a couple months down the line. Can you believe that we were arguing over this, but now we have what we need? Taurus, buckle down, dig your feet in, and fight this one. Fight this battle. Fight it and win it. You will be all the better for it. You have to make them realize. I'm not saying to literally go toe-to-toe with them, but Taurus, you are smart. You are smart because you realize this. You already understand the situation. If you didn't already know deep down that these things are in question, then you were doomed to start. But you know the problem and you know them. So solve that problem. Use that brain. Use that intuition that's buried deep down in there. Wipe aside any doubt. And you'll finish it out strong. You will finish it out stronger than you could ever believe. That's an outcome worth being happy about. But it ain't gonna be easy. You're dealing with deceit. You're dealing with deception. You're dealing with truths that are not set in stone yet, but are very powerful truths. It's not going to be easy, but the rewards far outweigh the burden that you're going to have to deal with in the short term. Yeah. Whew, I'm going to need a breather after that one. So, Taurus, I really do appreciate you watching the video. I really do appreciate you hearing all I have to say. Hopefully I didn't take up too much of your time. I know we all have a lot to do during our day. So with that, Taurus, I will catch you next time.